You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Supernatural Chat Show with your host, Sean Cadman, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to another issue of the Supernatural Chat Show with me, your host, Sean Cadman. Tonight's guest is a good friend, one of the nicest guys you could meet in the paranormal field, who, not want to dwell on things that have happened, but he's had a rough time of it over the last year, pulled through, coming back, all guns blazing. I'd like to welcome fantastic guy, Mr. Gary Bradfield. How are you, Gary?
Good evening, Sean. I'm fine. How are you yourself?
I'm not too bad at all, thanks, mate. For people who are listening who don't know much about yourself, same as I always do, if you just want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what got you involved in the paranormal?
Oh, for those that don't know me, I think there's most probably still quite a few. I'm basically the founder of East Anglia Paranormal Investigations. To cut a long story short, back in 2009, I ended up in a medical induced coma, and when coming out of that, my psychic ability came back with a vengeance. So I basically formed East Anglia Paranormal Investigations to help people. I'll say that with a big one. It's to help people. So, and that's what we did. But it sort of progressed from there. We're now doing public events across the UK.
What initially sort of awoke you to abilities or gifts that you've got? Was it something from childhood or?
Yes, I was a wee lad. And it all started off in a, as it says, not few of us, I suppose. It was a Victorian cottage, workers' cottage, and I had an imaginary friend. But this imaginary friend wasn't an imaginary friend; it was a ghost. But I like to take it back even further than that, to when my mum was actually carrying me. Which seems weird, I suppose, to some people, but it doesn't to me, because my nan actually, I was due on the 1st of October, and my nan actually turned around to my mum and said, no chance, he will be born on the 29th of October. Well, in them days, they never induced women to have babies early.
Yeah.
And my poor mum had to suffer another 28 days of me not coming out. And I basically came out with long jet black hair, where the nurses had to cut my hair to make me look like a boy. Hasten to add, my mum wasn't very happy, as you can imagine. So I like to say that it originated from when I was born, basically.
Yeah. Is it something you've always strived to progress with, or has it just happened as you've got older?
I had lots of things happen to me in my childhood. As I said, I had a little boy. We moved from there. The little boy stayed there because he was within his boundaries as such. Mm. He couldn't come with us. So lo and behold, I crossed the road because he couldn't go across, and I just turned back and I said, "Bye, Peter. I'll never see you again." That was his name, Peter. But from there, when we moved, I ended up having psychic dreams, which they're not very nice. Let's put it this way. Some of them, if I would have reported it, I'd have had the FBI and the CIA and all that knocking on the door.
Wow.
I actually, one of them is the easiest way to put it to yourself and your listeners is, over a period of about 2 months, I actually see the space shuttle crash. So by the time I put all the pieces together, now I actually see that. I knew what was happening, and the news flash come up, and I said to Mum, "See, I told you it was going to happen." Now, I can't exactly phone up NASA and say, "Please do not send your space shuttle up."
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from, because the next person knocking on the door is going to be the Men in Black or FBI. So yeah, they're not very nice. I've seen others as well. So.
Wow. Do you still get those then?
I don't now. I think I was about 18 when I stopped having them. Basically, I had a nasty accident in a wood factory where I nearly lost my arm. It wasn't very nice. Again, I was having a psychic dream, but that was, normally they were at night, but this was during the day. And I caught my hand in a shaper, and the cutters rotate very, very, very fast. And I was inches away from losing my left arm. And
wow.
That's when I decided that I was going to shut off completely from everything that was coming in from spirit.
Yeah. So what made you open up again? Was it when you came out of the coma?
Yes. Well, before then, I actually got married, and I think spirit, even though I'd shut myself down, I think spirit was still there niggling at me. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saying, "We're here. We know that you've had the accident, but we're just telling you that we're still about." Well, lo and behold, obviously, you get married, you have children, and my first son was born. And don't ask me why, coincidence maybe, but I actually called him Peter. Now, Peter was the name of the little ghost boy from when I was a wee lad in a Victorian cottage.
Yeah.
But then sort of if you jump further into the future to 2009 when I went in the coma, I couldn't fight any, obviously, because your body's healing, but I couldn't fight the psychic side. When I came out, it came back, and that's when I said, well, it's come back for a reason, and that reason is to help people and to make people more aware, especially the general public, to make them more aware of the paranormal. And to me, it's not what you see on the telly.
No, definitely not.
It's sort of teaching them the true paranormal.
Exactly. I mean, when you met Sharon, was she aware of your psychic side, or do you think it was a spiritual drawing together of you both?
I think it was a bit of both. I think at the time I was still sort of relatively shut off, but there was things happening around my house. I was living on my own at the time, and I think it was just drawn, but when she used to come round, there was things happening in my home that you couldn't explain. You know, I'd have pictures on the wall that had been up on the wall for years, you know, and all of a sudden they'd shift and fall down, and they wouldn't, you know, and the glass wouldn't even break. They'd just be laying there. And
wow, it's what made you decide to start EAPI doing public events? Was it something you felt you needed to do, or?
Initially, it was. I said to Sharon, "I'm going to start it up," and Sharon said, "Yeah, I think we should." And I sort of like, I've got my ability. I said to Sharon, I know quite a bit about the paranormal, but I don't know everything. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly.
Yeah. And
I dragged in Alex. I mean, you've met Alex. I've dragged in Alex, and he's my EVP tech guy.
Yeah.
He does all that side. Now, he's actually got at home a computer that's just basically for EVP work. So if we get anything, you give it straight to him and he sorts it out. So everybody in the team has got a specific role.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you want to sit here and say, anybody can chat, you want to sit there and say, I know everything about the paranormal, then don't come to me and talk to me, because you don't.
Exactly.
So that's how we progressed. And we went from, I think we did like what every normal team out there does. It's the churches, the graveyards, anywhere that you could get in for free. And there was 2 or 3 people who came to me and said, "Can we come on them?" And I said, "Yeah, don't bother me." I said, "You know, we ain't got liability. You're not paying for it. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to come on, it's down to you. Your fault if you get injured. I'm not paying for you, you know." And they said, no, we fully understand. We really enjoy it. And then they sort of said, "Well, why don't you start doing it properly?" And so it sort of progressed from being a small paranormal team doing local churches, people's homes. Once, obviously, we got the liability insurance, he was doing people's homes on privates, and it sort of progressed from there, really.
Wait, do you prefer doing the public events to the private ones, or do you find it totally different? I can't say a different thrill, because I can't call it a thrill, but a different challenge.
I like the privates, because this is where I originally thought a VAPI would go. That's helping people in their own home.
Yeah.
Sorry. But you can sort of like go to somebody's home and they say, "Oh, we've got paranormal activity," and by the time you've sat down for half an hour or an hour, you could turn around to them and say, "Well, I'm sorry, but what the banging you're hearing or the footsteps you are hearing is actually your radiator pipes cooling down."
Yeah.
So yeah, in a sense I like that, because you're putting their mind at ease. But in the other sense, I enjoy doing the public events because I can express myself even further, and so can my team. And we're broadening the mind of more people, because when 9 times out of 10 when they come on one of our events, all they've watched is television, and all they expect is a knock or the K2 meters going off. Well, as you know, Sean, and after paranormal investigators out there know, it's not like that.
No, definitely not. I mean, do you think people come on a public event with too much expectation from watching the TV shows?
Yeah. Definitely.
They expect furniture to start flying around and coins to be thrown everywhere.
Yeah. As well, and not only that, I think as well is the fact of the way these places are portrayed.
Yeah.
You know, the typical one was the one at Skegness, the Hell House. Now, I had all these, I investigated it. I had all these high expectations, you know. Well, it's the Hell House. yes, things happened, but it wasn't to the point where I'd say it's a hell house. I would say it's a house that's haunted.
Yeah. Do you think that out of all the places over the years that you've investigated, that one was probably the biggest letdown, or has there been others?
I would actually say yeah, because I think the way it was built up. I mean, I haven't done East Drive because it's too far up in the country, and the other one I haven't done. But the Hell House is basically on my doorstep. I mean, it's only in Skegness, which is up the road.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was expecting, and it sounds stupid, I know, I'm a paranormal investigator, but I was expecting, like, when I walked in and halfway through the night, I was expecting to see blood running down the walls and things like that, you know.
I mean, you do though. Some of the time, these places are that hyped up that you walk in expecting a sofa to be levitated in the middle of the front room. Yeah. It's like, I mean, we've been doing this for years, paranormal investigating. We know stuff like that. Probably you're never going to see in a lifetime, but you still expect it sometimes when you go in these places.
Yeah, yeah. I know quite a few of the bits and pieces. I went in there and I debunked them. You know, that is part and part of obviously. We do. We don't just. Yeah. We do not. A slight knock, and there's a lot of teams out there that say, "Well, that's paranormal." No, we don't. We'll try and debunk that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When you do your public events, do you find, obviously because of the expectation of the public, that things that are easily debunkable has got everybody jumping out the skin and screaming? You have to explain to them that, oh no, that wasn't anything paranormal. That was such and such.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's the slightest noise, and it's because we're used to it. But the general public, when they come on, and it's pitch black. It may be their first, their second, their third time of going, and it's the slightest tap or the slightest, even down to there's a crack in the window. And the wind coming through and making a whistling sound, we know that's the wind.
Yeah.
But the general public go, did you hear that whistle?
I say sometimes you try and tell them that was the wind, but they're like, no, it was definitely a whistle.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, that was definitely a whistle.
Yeah.
And even if you take them to where this crack is and you're sitting there and say, right, we'll sit here for 5 minutes, and it happens again, and you're in the room where this crack is, they'll go, see, there's the whistle. No, look at the window.
Yeah, they go, no, it's from over there. One's here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Where's your favourite place to do? Let's split it into two. Your favourite places for just a team investigation, and your favourite place for a public event. I
like doing readout fault on a public, because it's quite big, so you can split up into two or three teams.
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of noise contamination. Even though it is circular, and if you actually stand at one side, you whisper through, people can hear it. But you don't tend to get a lot of noise contamination. Public, that's public-wise, and obviously because of the history of the fault, you know. Team-wise, we've done so many different places as in teams. I mean, we did a place in April. It's not actually on the map, but it is on the map, but it's not. Teams can't go in there. It's a bit like a private, but nobody lives there. It's an old pensioners' home that nobody lives in now. Yeah. We actually got called to go in there, and the things that happened in there was actually unbelievable. I mean, the company that had it, they were letting out X amount of rooms, but there was rooms there that never had no had the fire alarms in, but they were all disconnected.
Yeah.
And when we was investigating it, we had its fire alarms going off in rooms where the fire alarms were, but they weren't even connected. You know, all things like that. It is, we've had a few shadow figures in there. I did scrying in there, in an old mirror, and couldn't quite believe it, but it was actually the mirror belonged to a French person. So, not that I could understand the person. I was just saying that he's actually talking to me in French and I do not understand.
Have you ever had anything happen on an investigation that's frightened you to the point where you think, might have to stop this?
I take every experience as a learning curve. The trouble is with me, and Sharon will bear witness if you ask her at any time, I'm so inquisitive. I mean, even back in 2009 when I had double pneumonia, I started seeing the light and I was called into my Uncle Alan that's actually passed over. And I was saying to him, hang on, I'm just coming. Now Sharon's actually trying to call me back because I would have gone because I am that inquisitive. I want to see what's on the other side. So yes, I've had experiences. There is a video, YouTube video on the Parasearch page now. I put on the me at Coronation Hall. It's basically I went on the stage at Coronation Hall and I went down. And cut a long story short, I was calling out, I can't get the Spitfires off. Well, the actual looked into the history of it, and a German bomber was chased from Lowestoft, where I am, all the way down the coast to Mundersley, and was shot down opposite the church into the sea, and 4 crew members died. And I was actually taking the part of the pilot. Now, it wasn't only me on the night that went down, another 3 male victims, that sounds rotten, doesn't it? We know what you mean. Yeah. Another 3 males actually went down through the course of the night. None of the females were affected.
Wow.
So that's just something. I mean, it doesn't faze me. I suppose the easiest way for me to answer your question is it doesn't faze me.
Yeah, it's that natural inquisitiveness of why did that happen and will it happen again?
Yeah.
When you're on an investigation, I know obviously from going out with you before, you come from a very spiritual side on it all. What do you think to tech on an investigation, especially modern tech?
I don't mind tech. As you know, I work a lot with energy. I work the spiritual side, but I like to have the tech available to hopefully clarify what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
And I would say not every time I'm picking stuff up, the K2 meter, the EMF meter, the other technical equipment that we're using doesn't pick anything up, which seems weird, doesn't it?
I mean, it's like before we came on air, we was talking about K2s. I think this equipment originally is not made for ghost hunting. It's just we decided as paranormal investigators that it picks up on certain energies and frequencies, magnetic fields, etc. So you can't really trust in your tech unless, like you say, it's confirming something that somebody with a psychic, mediumistic ability is picking up.
Yeah, well, no, definitely. I mean, if I had the money, Sean, and this is God's gospel honest truth, if I had the money, I would go out and I would buy every single piece of tech that I'm going to use and buy it twice so I could take the other one apart.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't afford to do that. So the only other way around it is, i.e. the K2 meter. We'll go with the K2 meter because we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
We all at the beginning of an investigation, we all turn around and say, can you please turn your phones onto flight mode?
Yeah.
Because they affect our technical equipment. Okay, yes they do. But even a mobile phone in flight mode will affect equipment.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so you could be standing X away with a mobile phone feet away, and it will still affect. If that decides to upload or whatever it's doing, it will affect your K2 meter. Now, we'll take that a step further, and we'll ban all mobile phones from an investigation, right?
Yeah.
So we take them out of the equation. Wow. So now the K2 meter shouldn't be affected by anything. Wrong again, because if that K2 meter goes off, you could have a plane flying overhead.
Yeah.
That airplane pilot, at the time that K2 meter goes off, could be radioing. That will affect the K2 meter.
Yeah.
This is the trouble. People do not realise what these equipment can pick up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you can test them yourself with a walkie-talkie. As soon as you press a walkie-talkie, bang, the K2 meter goes off. What people don't think is, like, say, you take that a step further, a local taxi company radioing a job through. You've got them radio frequencies and microwaves passing through a location. Who's to say they're not setting the K2 off as well?
Exactly. I mean, to debunk it, which every team should do, as soon as that K2 meter goes off or your EMF meter goes off, you should start debunking.
Yeah.
If you're doing, we'll say, a team investigation, it's a bit hard when you're doing a public one, but we do try when we're doing public as well, because it's proving that we're not just scamming them for their money.
Yeah.
Right? So as soon as that goes off, you should debunk it.
Exactly.
So you should be going, right, where is their electricals? Who's got a mobile phone? Oh, let's go outside. Is there a taxi going past, as we said? Is there an aeroplane going past? How many teams do that? I mean, I will put hand on heart and I will say, yes, we debunk inside, but we don't go out in the street and look down the road and go, oh, K2 meter's gone off, there's a taxi down there.
That's it. I think, like I said, hand on heart, we don't. Probably very, very, very few percentage of paranormal investigators will actually do that, go to that extent to debunk something.
But really, truly, we should. Really, truly, we should.
Definitely. I mean, the other thing is, if you could get yourself a Faraday cage and put the K2 meter inside that, and then you're eliminating any outside influence.
Yeah.
But then again, it's getting older one.
Yeah. That is very true.
I mean, you touched, like you said, that if you have the money, you'd buy all these bits of equipment. Do you think that basically the equipment today that people are using for investigating is an absolute rip-off?
You can pick it up cheap now. I mean, I bought a K2 meter last year and it was like nearly 50 quid.
Yeah.
You can pick a K2 meter up now and I think they're about 25 to 30. So they have come down in price. But who's gonna buy two of them and strip one apart?
Yeah.
Unless you've got the money. I mean, next time, and this goes out to anybody in the paranormal field, next time you change your battery in your K2 meter, have a look at the circuit board. There's hardly anything to it.
Yeah. A big box with a little bit of circuitry in it.
Yeah. With a few flashing lights.
So, I mean, it's like voice recorders. I think every single paranormal investigator has got a voice recorder. The ones I use are usually somewhere between £10 and £15. Nice basic one off eBay. Does the job brilliant. Don't have all the silly filters in. But you type in ghost hunting equipment on eBay, and the same voice recorder that you can pick up for £10, people are selling for £20, £25.
Yeah. As soon as you put I think at the moment that we are being targeted. As soon as you put ghost hunting, and you can put whatever price you want on.
Yeah, definitely. Crazy. I mean, we'll touch on quickly, because I don't want to linger on on this because we talked about it last week. But on you yourself have been a victim of some severe online paranormal bullying. How did that affect you while it was all going on? And Sharon, because obviously Sharon was a victim too.
If I would say, basically in a nutshell, heart attack.
Yeah.
There you go. And I swear by that, Sean. My personal opinion is, at the end of the day, this all kicked off last year, and there's still the niggling going on. Right? But I blink it out, me and Sharon blank it out, you know what we like.
Yeah.
And some of it was malicious, vindictive, and me and Sharon both sat down talking about it and said, well, if it hadn't have started, would I have ended up in hospital with a heart attack?
What if you could say one thing to not only the people that subjected you to it, but the people in general out there that bully people in the paranormal, if you could say one thing to them people, what would it be?
It'd be stop. If I could tell you one thing, it would be stop and take a good look at yourself. Right?
Yeah.
And then think to yourself, what if this is happening to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I luckily enough, I'm a relatively strong person. Okay. And so is Sharon. Now, what would have happened with what was going on last year, and to the extent of this year, what would have happened if either of us wasn't that strong? I could have committed suicide. Sharon could have committed suicide. You know, it doesn't bear thinking.
No. I mean, it's, to me, these people, they don't think what consequences their actions are going to bring forward.
No. It doesn't stop with the individual that you're bullying, because it goes down the line. It goes to, all right, it affected me, it affected Sharon. Now, maybe it's one person that's doing it in the family, as in the man, and he's being bullied. The female has got nothing to do with the paranormal, but all of a sudden, because he's been bullied, she's being affected. Yeah. Then the children are being affected.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, I mean, what happened to you with your heart attack, Gary? I think that affected a hell of a lot of people. Not only people, your close friends and people who know. I think it affected a lot of people in the paranormal community. The bullying culminated in something that could have cost you your life. I mean, luckily for you and for everybody else, Sharon was there. But I think it's about time these people sat back and realised the consequences of what they're doing.
I mean, I was, and I will put hand on heart, because it is beating. I hope. I will put hand on heart, and I will say to each and everybody out there that actually took the time to write to Sharon, because obviously I was in hospital. There was loads of you out there that wrote to Sharon, and then wrote to me afterwards, and it's all on Facebook. I was shocked, and I'm an hard-faced, I can't say it, but I am hard-faced. But it brought a tear to my eye to think that there was so many people out there. I didn't realise that we was liked that much, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, we had people from America, you know, I had people from Australia, you had yourself, Viv, umpteen people. It was unbelievable.
I mean, I can say, honestly, that, I mean, you and Sharon and yourself are two of the nicest people that anybody could wish to meet in the paranormal community. Over the years I've known both of you, I've never known either of you have a bad word to say against anybody, even all the time that that was going on with yourself and Sharon and the people that were bullied. You never, as far as I can remember, once retaliated and threw stones back, so to say.
No, it's not. There's no point in it.
I think that's a lesson for a lot of people there.
This is how we dealt with it. Sorry. This is basically how we dealt with it. You know, let them, at the end of the day, you want to bully me, that's fine. Okay? I didn't expect to have the heart attack. I am going to put that down to the fact of the stress that it caused me, the stress that it caused Sharon, that I had eventually had this heart attack. Somewhere along the line, something's going to crack.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to retaliate because plain and simple fact is and Sharon, we're the bigger people.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, by reading all the messages from every single person that's come through and wished me well and still wishes me well, is great. It proves to me that I was the bigger person.
Yeah.
And if I had retaliated, then obviously I wouldn't have got what I got with the friends I've got within the paranormal field.
I mean, all the well wishes and everything out, the way it affected the paranormal community just goes to show that there is good people out there, and everybody rallied round and were stuck with you and everything else. And I think this is what the paranormal community needs to see and see more of, as people. I'm not going to say paranormal unity because I don't like the phrase para-unity, but stick together and not out these bullies, but ignore them. Don't retaliate to them. Like you said, be the bigger people.
It's hard because there's times that I really wanted to, and I sit on a laptop 24/7. Most probably the same as you do because you hold public events like I do, so you've got to sit on them 24/7. And there's times when I knew it was going on and I really wanted to have the itchy fingers were coming on, and it was basically, no, it's all right, I'll just get up and I'll make myself a cup of coffee, I'll go for a walk, come back and carry on.
Yeah, best way to approach it. I mean, I think most of the people, probably everybody listening, can join in with me in saying it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
So, we won't touch on that bit anymore then. What's your plans for EAPI for the future? Where would you see EAPI going?
We've got quite a few big events coming on this year, obviously. We'll be doing, as you know, we've got Oxford Castle, Lancaster Castle. I would like this, really truly, is EAPI, whether or not I'm at an event or, you know, I've got a good team behind me now. So I know now I don't have to go to an event. I missed 2 events. Now I am proud of each and every one of my team members that went to those 2 events because they kept the name of EAPI going. They kept the dignity of EAPI going.
Yeah.
And we still got good feedback even though I wasn't there. So, you know, EAPI isn't all about me. You know, I've got a team behind me. As to where I'd like it to go, is just keep going, doing what we're doing. Putting on good events for the general public, teaching the general public that what you see on television isn't what the paranormal is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to, I don't know if it's going to sound controversial, but I would like to start somewhere along the line. I would like to start teaching the next generation of paranormal investigators, because there isn't, you know, where is the next generation going to come from?
Yeah.
You I taught my son from the age of 13. He never came out on an event. He never came out on the event until the day after his 18th birthday. We have got a policy that nobody under the age of 18 is allowed. But I taught him the basics of how to look at a picture. This is not an orb, this is just dust on the videos. I taught him to listen to EVPs. I taught him that you see on TV is not what you get when you get out in the field. So where is the next, this is my point at the moment, is where is the next generation coming from?
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's like you say, I mean, to me, that's a fantastic idea that they need to be taught, the younger generation coming through, because they're probably going to be too influenced by TV programmes that they've watched. And I think a course, something just even on the basics of debunking, would be a brilliant help to people coming into the paranormal.
I mean, I don't like, I would love to be able to start it. They haven't got to go out in the field. You can do basic EVP listening, debunking pictures, debunking video footage. This is how a K2 meter works. This is what can affect a K2 meter. Teach these young kids. Obviously, you're going to have to get the parents' permission, but if they've got an interest in paranormal, teach them and try and teach them, obviously, the right way.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that can only be good for the field.
In my opinion, yes.
It's like I say, orbs. Everybody, I think it's everybody's favourite hated subject, orbs.
Love them. They're like Marmite, aren't they?
Exactly. I mean, personally, I'm of the belief, 99.9% are debunkable. Moths, flies, moisture, whatever you want to call them, whatever they are. But there's that 0.1% where you think, well, there might be something into that one. But people need educating into why is that 0.1% different to the others.
Yeah, definitely. This is what I'm saying. We've got to catch, this is my opinion, folks, this is just my opinion, not anybody else's. We've got to catch these kids early. Yeah. We've got to catch them when they're, like I did with Brandon, he had an interest in the paranormal, so we've got to catch them at the age of 13. And then they've got an interest even younger than that. If you're not taking them out in the field and you're not putting them in, and I will say this in inverted brackets, you're not putting them children in harm's way.
Yeah.
What can be the harm in it? It's only that it's a bit like them going to school.
Yeah. I mean, it can also, when you involving youngsters in the paranormal and teaching them, it can also help them with, such things as night terrors, afraid of the dark, etc. When you're explaining the ins and outs of the spirit world and what things really are, and debunking, that's what you could even help them in their everyday life.
Yeah. I mean, you could. There's so much you can teach them. We're touching on the tech side. You could teach them crystals. You could teach them dream catchers. Native American dream catchers. Which will not going to cure totally night terrors, but they help.
Exactly. I suppose the paranormal field's got such a huge umbrella that comes under it. That there's that many things that you could teach people that are up and coming and want to get into the paranormal. It's never ending.
And just think, Rand, this is obviously to yourself and any team out there. You get a 13-year-old child interested. Right? Yeah. They're learning the ins and outs of the paranormal, as in ghost hunting, because that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to go on a specific ghost hunt, say, to their age of 18. I mean, some companies are even older than that.
Yeah.
So by the time they're 18, they've got 5 years' experience.
Yeah. Definitely. It's like, our 3 kids, yourself, they come out with us, and we did the same from when they were young. We'd go out to the local churchyard, or the local abandoned building, and we'd take them with us, so they got used to equipment, used to different sounds and noises, what was making them sounds and noises. I think should encourage people, if their kids have got an interest in the paranormal, involve them.
Yeah.
Bring them along.
Definitely.
Teach them.
I mean, you could do, I suppose, if you did a course that you was going outside, as long as it's restricted, you say, so the kids can't get harmed, then, you know, I mean, Brandon was in the Army Cadets, and he went out on like their exercises for 2 weeks, and whilst he was out, he said one night they went out on exercise and they stayed out all night. And he actually turned around to me and said, when he come back, he said, Dad, he said, it's really weird. He said, the noises that you hear at night time in the dark, and it's all heightened. And I said, well, you know, take it all on board.
Yeah. I mean, that goes, a lot of people say, why do you go out investigating at night when there's ghosts around all day as well? Because at night, all your senses are heightened because of the fact it's night, it's dark, it's quiet. Yeah. And kids pick up on that stuff.
But can I throw something else at you on that subject? Yes, we go out at night. Now, I look at it another reason why we actually go out at night. If you can do, don't get me wrong, you can investigate whenever you want, okay? As you said, there's ghosts around us 24/7. But if you're investigating, we'll say, your kitchen with an outside window, or your lounge with an outside window, you've got different lights coming in.
Yeah.
But if you do it at night time, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
You've got no shadows. So that is another reason why we do it at night time, because we've got no other shadows coming in.
Yeah, that's it. No other light source to cast shadows around. And
yeah.
I said, if you're in a dark room and you see a shadow move, you know it's not coming from a light source.
That's exactly right. As long as everybody in that room's still, and you see a shadow moving, hang about. Why is that shadow moving? Everybody's sitting still.
Exactly. So, location-wise, pick your dream location. One for a public event again, and one for just the team.
I'd have to go. This is for my personal reasons only. For a team event and team event only would be Pavilion Island, out in Venice. Is it Pavilion?
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I would love to go out there and do 24 hours, 48 hours on that island. Put me out there, leave me out there on my own. Don't bother me. I'm crazy, I know. That would be a definite hit on my list. To do actually a public event, I think I'd actually like to take the public to. This is going up north, up to Scotland. I'd like to do a public event in the Edinburgh Vaults.
Yeah, I think that's one on my bucket list. Where's your dream location if you could go anywhere in the world, like say on your own? Would that be the Pavilion Island?
Yeah, that would be the Pavilion Island. I've never been there, but it's going to sound silly, but I seem to be getting drawn. Don't know why. It's one of those, isn't it, I think? Yeah.
Do you think it's also the fact, I mean, not only the reputation it's got, but the fact that not really supposed to be allowed on there?
Could well be. I know that. I think it's the fact that, as you said, you're not really allowed on there, and it takes so long to get permission to get on there. I think by the time I got permission to go on there, I'd be in a wheelchair, and they wouldn't let me across on the water anyway. So there you go.
Penny's just asked, have you listened to the Haunted Histories show they did on Pavilion Island?
No, very sorry, Penny, I have not.
Yeah, there's one for you to have a listen to, mate.
I will do. If it's on on the YouTube, I will go and listen to it.
It's, as far as EAPI goes, I mean, you did a brilliant job of that. It's great we've been on an event with you and thoroughly enjoyed it. Do you just see it growing and growing and growing?
Yes. In a nutshell, yeah. I want it to carry on even when I can't even get out there. It's just one of it's mine and Sharon's dream, I suppose. We want it to. I suppose it's like everybody. You want it to live forever. I don't want it to die. I don't want it to die when I can't go out in the field no more.
Do you see it growing to the point where you've probably got 4 events running at a weekend, 2 on a Friday and 2 on a Saturday?
At the moment, we're doing 1 a month, and so it does seem as if it's going to be doing that, Sean. I mean, next year, next year we've already got in the pipeline. I think it's Easter. We're doing, I will say it, the Gallows of Justice and the City of Caves in Nottingham.
Yeah.
That's over the Easter. The next bank holiday, we're doing Bodmin Jail and the Jamaica Inn. We're organising another one for the August bank holiday in Great Yarmouth. And there's about 4 different locations in Great Yarmouth. We're going to hit 2 of them. So, we are, especially the bank holidays. So
that's good. It's good to be busy.
Yes.
If you could investigate with any person in the paranormal field, have them along on one of your investigations, just you and them, who would it be?
Me and who? That's a good question, because there's so many good investigators out there. And I'm sorry if I don't mention anybody's names. And I'm not going to mention your name because I've Sean, because I've investigated with you. Yes, you're fantastic, and I'm not going to vet Vibs either. But I'm going to have to say, for the plain and simple fact is, I get on very well with him when I've spoken to him, and that's only been at Paraforce. That's Barry Fitzgerald. I would love to do an 8-hour investigation with Barry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. That'd definitely be a good one, that would.
Mm.
It's reading his books and things, it's like, wow.
Mm.
Some of the research that he's done is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, do you class yourself as a researcher as well, or just an investigator?
I do research. A bit like when I went down at Coronation Hall, I researched the reason why I went down, so yes, I do like to, but we do it after an event. We don't.
Yeah.
I will not do the research on a virgin location. I will go in cold, or go in blind, if you like, whichever way you like to put it. And then once I've been in, I'll then come out and say, right, we got this, we got that. We got this name, we got that name, this happened, that happened, then I'll start researching it.
Yeah, that's the same way we do it. I don't like to go, I mean, I'm a psychic as a brick, but I don't like to go in sort of pre-knowledged of what names, etc., because I think then if you've already got that knowledge, this is just my personal opinion, if you've already got that knowledge, you listen back to your EVPs you've caught, and you hear a name, you're going to be almost preempting that name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so, no, I agree. Especially if you're doing a live EVP session on the night and you've already researched it, and for argument's sake, you come up with Elizabeth. It's the most commonest name going.
Yeah,
and you listen to your live EVP and it comes up Lizzie. You think, oh, that's Elizabeth II that was here.
Yeah.
Well, why would it be? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It wouldn't be Elizabeth II because God save the Queen, she's not dead yet. But you know what I mean?
It's that preemptive. I mean, to me, a good idea is if you get yourself a notepad when you're doing your live EVP sessions and you listen back, write down what you think you've heard. Then once you do your research afterwards, you can correlate it and see if anything matches up.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of advice for everybody out there. Yeah. Take a notepad and pen with you.
Make sure you take 2 pens.
Yeah, because one's bound to run out.
Yeah, I've done that before.
What's your thoughts as well? I'll go back on slight tech beer on these apps, phone apps, tablet apps, etc., etc. Do you think they've got a place in the paranormal, or are they just a gimmick?
I think a good telephone app or a laptop, you know, the little mini laptop apps are good as long as they're done properly. I.e. the Echo Box. We use the Echo Box on our events. We normally open up with an Echo Box because you get the people round and they're looking and it's building the energy up. But there is some out there that, I don't know, you get them on your phone, don't you? And they say, oh, this is like the Ovilus 3. Well, I've caught so many of those apps out.
Yeah.
We had one bloke come on and on one of our events, and he had this telephone app, and it was based on the Ovilus 3, and he was going, and I said, oh, right. And he said, can I use it? I said, if you want to use it, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. So there he is. He's using it. And he's going, look. He said, this is mentioning a bloke that I worked with 30 years ago. And it's got this telephone. It's like a telephone number or half a telephone number. And it's saying Wood. And that was where he worked. And then I said, well, what have you actually got in your phone? And he flipped through his phone. And it's like, he's got we'll say like he's got a Sean Cadman, and a Sean had come up, and he's got somebody else's telephone number matched this workplace's telephone number. And you're thinking, haven't you realised what that phone's just, you know, what it's just done? It's just read your phone.
Yeah, that's all it's done. You got to be so careful with these apps. I think don't place too much trust in them. Same as any paranormal equipment, really.
There is a place for them, don't get me wrong, but they've got to be, you know, test them, and if you start thinking to yourself they don't work, or you're getting second thoughts, get rid of them.
Yeah, definitely. I just got to mention quickly before, because we're fastly running out of time, that after my show's finished, we have got Penny Griffiths on with Haunted Histories. Tonight she's talking about the Boleskine House with Ashley Mortimer. That's going to be a very interesting show. She put, just to whet your appetite, 3 words: Crowley, Page and Demons. So there we go. So if you just refresh the page after my show's finished and have a listen to that with Penny at 9 o'clock. So, I mean, we've only got a couple of minutes left, Gary. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you, mate. And I'm so glad, so happy that you're back on track and you're going to be back out soon with the team hosting events.
Yeah, I'll be back out, as I say, this coming Saturday. And then, obviously, July 14th, I'm at the Village with yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Is that one sold out, or is there any tickets left on that one?
We always have it's basically sold, but we always have some tickets if there's anybody wanting tickets. To come and join us, you're more than welcome. Just get hold of Sharon Bradfield on Facebook, and she will give you all the details. And that goes for any of our events, Sean.
Yeah.
Any event you see out there, just get hold of Sharon, and she will give you all the details.
Definitely. I mean, I could thoroughly recommend to all the listeners going on an event with Gary, Sharon, and the EAPI team. They're very professional, very well-run events, and you guaranteed a good night.
Thank you, Sean.
No problem, mate. Like I said, it's been absolutely fantastic speaking with you. Looking forward to July, the trip to Skegness, to the seaside with you, and investigate the village church farm again, which is a great location.
Yes.
A lot goes on there. So, once again, thank you very much to Gary. Thank you very much to all the listeners for listening in tonight. And don't forget to refresh after this one for Penny's show. Thank you very much, Gary.
You're welcome, Sean, and good night to everybody.
Right, and with that, over to Carrie.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.